Go to Facebook. What it is, world. What's going on? This is your brother Chief-Kalinago with another video. Man, it's a beautiful Sunday. Every day is Sunday when, once the sun is out, every day is Sunday. But I'm going to give you guys some time to chime into this live feed. Let me just go to, because I'm multi-streaming, YouTube and Facebook. So let me just make sure we on here. Want to say big up on yourself, big up to all the West Indian Massive, all American Aboriginals, all indigenous people around the world. You know what I mean? So we're about to do this for real. All right. Do me a favor, take the link. Go ahead, man, and share the link on your various platforms. All right. We're gonna talk about a few things today, man. I wanted to talk to you guys about what truly the coronavirus is about, but then the spirit led me into another direction, and so I'm just gonna flow, with the spirit. All right. But I'm certainly sure what I'm gonna talk about today, a lot of you guys may have known or probably heard of a lot of these, analogies, or basically a lot of those teaching moments in life. And I'm going to teach you a few things today, or at least, give you a little bit more of my journey, so you'll truly have an understanding as to my mindset and who I am and how I operate and why I do the things that I do. You feel me? Because life is a beautiful thing. And I tell people, don't allow other people's life or other people's misery, you see what I'm saying, to make your life miserable. Because you see, misery loves company. And after misery comes death. That is the only thing. And a lot of our people are dying inside. You dig what I'm saying? They are dying inside. And that's the problem. You see what I'm saying? So you have to know that. And with me, let me just, I'm definitely going to start with, just start with, because a lot of people, again, are coming with negativity, and I don't have time for that. But what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about a few things today, and you're going to learn about some stories that you could apply to your life. And that's what it's all about. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about that coronavirus in another video. All right. That's a complete different build. But I felt it imperative to go over a few things and share some things with y'all. All right. Share some things with you, because brothers and sisters, check this out, right? Don't fight every battle. Okay? Don't fight every battle. Every battle wasn't meant to be fought. And you see, that's what a lot of our people, because you're always in chaos, a lot of people call themselves warriors. I am not a warrior, and I'm not a warrior. You see what I'm saying? Now, think of what I'm saying. You have the word warrior, okay? W-A-R-R-I-O-R, being a warrior, right? And then you have the word to worry. Those are the same thing. When you are worrying, you become a warrior, right? And when you are always wanting to war, you become a warrior. Now, the words sound the same, but they're spelled differently, but they have the same energy. And a lot of people call themselves spiritual warriors. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. Your words are very powerful. And whatever you speak, it becomes flesh. I don't always want to be in warrior mode, because once you're always attracting war to you, war will come. So be mindful of the things that you manifest into your life. Oh, I'm a spiritual warrior. Well, guess what? You're always going to be in war or at war in the spiritual realm. And it's only a matter of time before it manifests in the flesh. So a lot of people think, oh, well, it's good to be a spiritual warrior. Man, there's a time and a place for everything. I don't always want to be in warrior mode. No, sometimes I want a peace of mind. I want some, just a little bit of, man, wholesomeness. Be mindful with the words. So I'm going to teach y'all a few things today. And hopefully those words, you will hear what I'm saying. You dig. Because it's not everything we hear we have to attract to our lives, family. Stop always being a warrior. It's okay to be at peace. It's okay to love. It's okay to appreciate. It's okay to appreciate love. It's okay to give a compliment. It's okay not to fight back. It's okay not to react. This is about self-mastery. It's called discipline. All right? What does discipline sound like? Discipline, sure, it sounds like disciple. You see, what your disciples are your faculties in your mind. We all have 12 faculties, and I have done videos, broke that down. John the Baptist, Judas, Thomas, Matthew, all of those are disciples. You feel me? They are your disciples, and they are mental faculties that you have to master as the 13th son, as the Christ. You have to master those disciples. That's called discipline. You did. So with that being said, stop always being in warrior mode. Being a spiritual warrior is good sometimes, but only fight that spiritual fight when your ancestors call upon you. Because you see, the same way we need their help down here, they also need our assistance, because so as above, so is below. So you have to be in tune. You have to be in tune to know what battles to pick, what battles to fight. Because you see, battles, they add up to a war. So for me, I heard Bob Marley say one time, right? The fool who fight and run away live to fight another day. Brothers and sisters, it's okay to run away from a fight sometimes. You don't always have to fight. It's okay to fight and run away and know that you are going to have the strength and the energy, the tenacity, the skills to fight another day and win. You see, me, I'm focused on the war and not the battle. And people are trying to engage me into battles, onto the battlefield. And that's not where I'm at. I'm living my best life. I am happy. I have joy. And anytime you have that, people will try to take that away from you. And other people will come into your life and tell you, well, Chief, nah, do this and do that. And no, family, be in control. That's what truly being a God is about. You feel me? But I'm going to share a couple of things with you first. All right. We're going to go back, and I'm just going to give you a little history. Now, I've done that before. All right. But I'm just going to give you a little background of my foundation to show you, so you have a better understanding of who Chief-Kalinago is and why I am the way that I am and why I am so strong. Because you see, I was raised in a home with both my parents, both my mom and my dad. You know what I'm saying? Rest in power. My father transcended April 26th of 2018. You feel me? And I grew up with both my parents. So I was well balanced. But let me just show you a little bit. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay? Because stop allowing people to take control of your life by telling you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Okay? Do things in your own time when you are ready. Not because people tell you to. Because family, nobody could save you. And nobody's going to bring you water when you are thirsty unless you have shown, or they have shown, that level of maturity, loyalty, friendship, love, and trust. I hear a lot of people calling people brother and sister, and they just, it's just coming out of their mouths. But in their heart, they are saying something differently. And I'm going to prove that to you again today. But let us go to the foundation. All right. Let us go back a little bit. Let me share my screen so you get an understanding of why I am the way that I am. All right. And why am I cut from a different cloth? So let's share my screen a little bit real quick. All right. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a map right here. Right. This is a map, or a partly, a partial map of the island Rosa Dominica. All right. I was born on a very small island called, well, I was manifested. I was born, within my mom. All right. But I was manifested in the flesh on this small island called Dominica, because you see, you have a lot of people out there talking right now, and all they're doing is talking. And I'm not going to feed into that negativity. And people are trying to get me to fit into it, and I'm not going to. But I'm just doing this video because I know there are people that I vibe with. All right. And part of my journey is to show them my journey and my growth so that they could learn. Because believe me, you will go through your stage or your period in life when you are tested. And I would like you to use my journey as an example so that you could see it doesn't matter how hard they come. Stand firm on, once you're walking in a righteous path, once you're walking in honor, it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter, as long as you know your heart is pure and you're walking in light. So with that being said, right, this is kind of like a map of, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of, I mean, of course, you cannot see everything in detail, but I'm telling you, I was born in a place called, let me see if I could see, Princess Margaret Hospital, right? That's right here, okay? Princess Margaret Hospital is right here. I was born in that hospital, Princess Margaret Hospital, okay? Okay, Princess Margaret Hospital. I was born there, okay? Let me see if I could pull that up real quick for you guys. Big it up a little bit, right? And that's the Princess Margaret Hospital, one of the main hospitals in Roseau. Now, Roseau is the Commonwealth, or the first city, all right? The first city in Dominica. Dominica has two cities, all right? You have Roseau, which is the main city, and you have Portsmouth, which is the second town. So it has two towns, okay? We call what you may call a city or a capital, okay, we call a town. So Roseau is the capital of Dominica, and then the second town, or the second capital, so to speak, is Portsmouth, right? Now, this is Princess Margaret Hospital. That's the hospital that, my mom, I wouldn't say conceived, but, I was manifested in the flesh at Princess Margaret Hospital. Now, down from Princess Margaret Hospital, all right, I'm gonna show you real quick where, well, that's going towards Roseau, but Jolly Lane, all right? I grew up in a place called Goodwill. And more than just so Goodwill, I was born in the gutter. What I mean, I grew up in the gutter. What does that mean? You hear when people say they were born in the ghetto? Gutter is kind of like similar to the ghetto where I come from. You feel me? So I grew up, not necessarily just the terminology in the gutter. I was literally raised in a place called Gutter Village. So I came from the gutter. You did. It wasn't a bad place. It wasn't ghetto. That was just the name of the place, Gutter Village. Now, imagine that. They don't even have it on the map. That's to show you, right? But I went to this school. The first high school that I went to, well, junior high school, was called, Goodwill Junior High School, all right? Now, from Goodwill Junior High School, let me just go to this other map right here. Maybe this might give you a better idea of what it is, right? So let me come down here. Oh, yeah, by the way, we have a Chinatown in Dominica as well, because, Chinese all over the place, right? But I was born here in this place called Princess Margaret Hospital. Now, down from Princess Margaret Hospital, you're coming down to Jeffers Lane, Murphy's Lane, and then you have the Federation right here. And Windsor Park, that's a park we used to go to every Sunday or Saturday to play football. Now, what you call football, they probably call that something else. But we call football the real sport. What you call soccer is what we call football, because you play it with your foot, right? But anyway, so Windsor Park, we used to go and play. I used to be a goalkeeper, right? I used to be a goalie, okay? I mean, I wasn't the best goalie, but, I was all right. You feel me? I was all right enough to make my high school team, right? So this was Windsor Park right here. Now, if you come down a little below Windsor Park, I have right here, we have Old Street and we have Bowers Lane. Now, Bowers Lane was literally, it ran into what they call Gutter Village. And Goddard Village is where I grew up, in a small village where everybody knew everybody. All right. In our backyard, like I told y'all before, we had coconuts, we had mangoes, we had guavas. I mean, we had watermelon. All right. We had our chickens. My uncle used to come every morning and bring a warm bottle of cow milk. You know what I'm saying? And no, the cows wasn't on GMO or none of that. All right. Warm milk. We had goat milk. We had everything that we needed. So when I see our brothers and sisters on the mainland, you see what I'm saying? And with the type of mentality, I want you to, and I'm not saying everybody, but you see, it stems from a lot of the food that our people eat. The food affects you. And I'm here to teach you some new things. I'm here to show you a different way of life. All right. I didn't grow up going into corner stores and going into Walmart and going into, Kroger's to buy food. No, we had food. Our food came from the earth. And what we didn't grow, we went to the local market. Now, there was a market like in what we call town in Roseau, right? That's the Roseau River right here. Now, the high school that I went to was called Goodwill, Grammar School, right? So grammar school was actually in what we call Roseau, okay? Right next to Botanical Gardens. The Botanical Gardens, let me see if I right here. So this is the Dominica Botanical Gardens. Now, opposite of the garden, that was my high school called grammar school. And opposite grammar school, they had what they call SMA. SMA was a school just for boys, okay? And then you across from SMA, you had a school called, what was it called? Convent High School. Convent High School was for the girls and SMA was for the boys. But I went to a school, co-ed school, which was called grammar school. Now, if, when you that area called the Botanical Gardens and you go all the way down, you go next down to the Roseau River. Now, going into Roseau, into the town, we had 2 bridges then. I know now they have about 4, but we only had 2. And the furthest one closer to the sea, all right, that was the one where whenever food that we couldn't grow, we went to that market on Saturday sometime to buy food at that market. All right. So I'm saying all that to say, to let you know the mindset of what I grew up with, eating natural foods. Even our chickens, didn't eat GMO or no, it was natural foods. I had a dog named Spot, right? And well, cliche, right? Spot. And man, I love that dog. And my mom was getting tired of the dog, period. It was getting on everybody's nerves. And they literally gave the dog away. They gave the dog away to somebody in Maho. Now, Maho is where we used to go to church. We used to go to church in 2 places. We had a place where we used to go to church. Let me see if I can show you that church right here. Literally walking distance from right here, the Family Pentecostal Church right here. That's the church I grew up going to, all right? And at that time, the pastor was, what was his name? Man, it was such a long time. I mean, not that long, but, it's been a while, right? But the pastor, man, I had a crush on his daughter. And she had a crush on me, boy, but they didn't want me in that church, I'll tell you that. I used to be in that church angry as hell because church used to be all day. When you're thinking it's time for lunch, man, that's when the pastor, he's starting to preach. So what I used to do is me and my friends, we used to go in the basement of the church, right? And we used to talk to the girls and just mess around all day. But when it was time for lunch, we would come upstairs and it's time to go home to cook. But that was the church that I grew up in, the Pentecostal church. But also, my mother used to go to a church in a place called Maho, only because my uncle was a pastor. My uncle was a pastor of that church. So we went to that church, just to support. And I definitely didn't like that because at least when we went to Pentecostal church, I could have walked home. But when we went to the church in Maho, I had to wait until everybody was ready for me to go home. But I'm showing you guys all that to say because, there are a lot of haters out there talking all this stupid crap. And I don't want to feed into all that. I'm doing this video more so to show you my foundation. All right. on what made me the man that I am today. And just to let you know, like I said, I grew up in a village called Gutter Village. And my mom was a cop for 30 years. And my strength and my vigor and my determination come from that great woman. My mom was nothing but, I mean, I'm talking about with, 5'4", 5'4.5", 5'5", short, but strong, powerful. And my mother was a cop for 30 years. And I've literally seen my mother take down dudes that's 6'4", 6'4", because back in Dominica, weed was and still is illegal. And my mother, she had a nose, man, for weed. My mother could smell weed from 47 miles away. And she would just go sniffing. And when they see her coming, they would run. And my mother would chase down dudes. I'm talking about dudes that's 6'4". Chase them down. And my mother by herself. And I've seen this thing with my eyes. And my mother would take them down. And when they try to take the roach, you know what a roach is for all you weed smokers? The little part of the end of that weed. They would try to take it and swallow it. My mother would like literally take them down and take her hand and put it in their mouth and pull that roach out and book them. Now I'm saying all that to say that's the kind of woman that raised me. Strength. And even if she was a police officer, it was never enough for her. I've seen my mother open up businesses, okay? Businesses. She failed at one, she succeeded at the next. She failed at one, she succeeded at the next. And that gave me character. Now, my father was a little bit different. My father was the type of man, he was very complacent, all right? Not that he didn't like good things, not that he wasn't happy. No, he was, but he was just content. He didn't let anything bother him. My father was on one job for his entire life. Never got a raise, and that never bothered him. You feel me? We had a 13-inch black and white television, and my mother wanted a 17-inch or a 19-inch color TV, and my father was like, well, what's wrong with that one? We could see the picture, even if it's black and white. We don't have to see what color clothes they're wearing. The point is we could still see what's going on. I'm saying all that to say is to show you the balance that I had. My father was really calm, cool. My mother was too, but my mother would be a little more faster and more aggressive in sense of she didn't play that. My mother didn't stand nonsense at all, but my father was a little more relaxed, okay? My father didn't whoop our butts a lot, but when he did, ooh. But every chance our mother got, man, if you did what you did, oh, now you was getting it. And sometimes she would even pretend like she didn't even touch us. And when my father comes, she was, oh, I can't do nothing with these children. And then we would get another beating. And it was cool. That was my growing up. But that balance that they gave me, all right, the entrepreneurship from my mom and the aggressiveness from my mom, go after what you want, never settle, never quit. When one door is closed, make sure you keep knocking. Make sure, yes, I failed at this business, but I have to open up another one. Even if she had a secure job, working for the system, she knew that she wanted something more in life. And she taught me that. And my father taught me how to be satisfied with what I have. So I had to find that balance. You did. Also, growing up in a church of Pentecostal, then my father became part of what's called a Yahweh faith. And that caused confusion in the home. And I saw what religion did in my home, in a home where we grew up. I remember I had another little sister, all right? When I was around 2, I was around 3 or 3.5 or 4. And she transcended. Her name was Lauren. And I could remember vividly, they put her on an ironing board. Her body was so short. And her casket was literally the size of a shoebox. I could still see her face, and it was just such a beautiful feeling to grow up in a home with both your parents, with morals, and we had to eat breakfast together. We had to eat dinner together, but lunch, seeing that my parents work all day, sometimes they would come home for lunch, but sometimes they won't. but breakfast and dinner was guaranteed. You had to be at the table. You had to wash your hands. All right. My sisters had to be home before the sun went down. As the boy, all right, they gave me some leeway. And I had an hour or two after sun went down. You know what I mean? But I was very protective of my sisters. Always. I mean, I got into a lot of trouble. Family, I'm talking, we used to play marbles, right? And I was a sharp shooter. And I would literally go to school. I'm talking in junior high school. When I used to go to, when I used to go to Goodwill High School, right? And that's walking distance, literally not far. But I used to go to school with no more than 10 marbles. And I would come home with over 200 marbles before the school day is out. You know what I mean? And there was this dude named Evans. Evans had a crush on my sister, but my sister didn't like Evans. And one day, we, on the playing field, right? Evans just ran up on my sister, all right, and gave her a kiss and ran. And my sister was crying. She was upset. And her best friend, Priscilla, ooh, Priscilla was fine too, boy. Ooh. But anyway, stay focused, Chief. Priscilla came and told me that this boy named Evans kissed my sister and ran. Family, I'm going to tell you, right? Every Sunday and Saturday we used to, and I'm just telling you stories right now, which I've done before, but I'm going over it again. All right? We used to look at karate movies every Saturday and Sundays, right? And we used to practice. We used to go to the beach. In Dominica, the sand on all the beaches are actually black. It's only when I traveled, I saw white sand for the first time. But I grew up on an island where the sand was black. All right? So, man, we used to practice karate moves after we finished watching those movies. All right, I don't know if you guys had that experience on the mainland, but I'm going to give you some of growing up on the islands, right? And we used to go practice martial arts, karate. And we used to make our own sound effects. Me and my friends were like, ish, ish, ha, ha, hey, 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 hey. I'm telling you, man, it was so much fun. So we did that so much, I literally thought I was in a kung fu movie. When Priscilla told me that this dude disrespected my sister, yo, I went to the playing field and I was on top of a little hill and he was down on the savannah. All right, we call it savannah, like it's a playing field with grass, right? So we call it savannah. So he was on the savannah and I was literally, I would say about 3 feet away, but I was on top of a hill. Man, I took off running and I shot up in the air with a side frost. Now, for those of you who know the karate movies, a side frost is when you up in the air, all right, and you take your, if you're left-handed or right, or if you're right-handed or left-handed, it depends, right? But I'm right-handed. So my left leg was curled up and my right feet was extended. That's called a side frost while you're actually in the air. You know what I mean? I did a side frost, literally 3 to 5 feet away. And I hit Evans dead smack in his face. Man, I swore I was Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan that day. I said, yo, don't you ever disrespect my sister again. The principal called me to the office. He said, listen, man, I don't know what your mother is feeding you, but you have so much energy. If you just took that energy and put it into your work. Now, don't get me wrong. I wasn't a dumb child. I wasn't stupid. I just didn't like doing my work. I just love to play. All right. I just like to have fun. All right. I wasn't the best reader. I wasn't the best at math, but I love social studies and science. All right. Geography. I love those subjects. In science, let me see which one was my favorite. My favorite was probably physics, but bio and chem, I didn't like that at all. But I love physics. But the point is, right? The principal said, you're going to have to start doing better because I'm tired of bringing you into my office. But the principal, man, he had a soft spot for me because he knew that I was a good child, right? And even more so, I was actually on the soccer team, right? Now, I wasn't using that as a scapegoat to do crazy things. No, I was just a child who liked having my own way. You know what I mean? But I'm saying all that to say I grew up very protective of the women in my family. You know what I mean? I didn't play that. You know what I'm saying? But a couple of other memories growing up, right? Mangoes. We had a lot of mangoes. And my mother's favorite mango was called Julie Mango. All right? Julie Mango. You know, here's the irony in that. Her name was also Julie, right? So my mother would listen, don't, after you come from school, stay home. Because she knew I was always getting in some type of trouble. I was always fighting somebody's child. You know, literally, it was just because, like I said, I used to win a lot of marbles and people would try to take away my marbles. And no, I was going to get into a fight. So long story short, I used to go pick mangoes every afternoon. Now, even if I knew when I come home I was going to get a beating because she told me don't go, I used to bring bags of Julie Mango. Now, for those of you who from the islands, I don't know if they have Julie Mango in the mainland. I've never seen it grown here, but Julie Mango is one of the sweetest. Julie Mango sweet karate. Julie Mango sweet. All right. And Julie Mango is one of the sweetest mangoes. You feel me? And I used to bring bags of mangoes for my mom because I know if I don't bring them mangoes, I'm gonna get a whooping. Sometimes my mother would spare me the beating, right? Because she told me don't go. But sometimes my mother would literally sit down and eat them mangoes. And after she eat them mangoes, she would still whoop my butt. But it never changed anything. I still used to go. All right? I still used to go because that's just the nature of children. All right? The nature of children is to always want to be outside and play. It's only when I came to the mainland I realized children are always inside playing games. Now, I don't know if the community is not safe, but that's not the way we're supposed to raise our children. Our children are not supposed to be imprisoned, always in a box. No, they're supposed to be out in nature. So that's how I was raised. You feel me? I ate so many guavas. Now, I've told you guys that story before. For those of you who know what guava is, when you eat a lot of guavas, you get constipated. And it doesn't matter how much guava I ate. I would eat it and still the next day I would have problems going to the bathroom. But guavas was so sweet, I didn't mind dealing with the pain the next day. You see what I'm saying? But family, I'm just opening up your mind, okay, to my childhood. All right, my childhood. Everybody knew everybody. Even the police officers, even if my mother was a police officer, which was worked out in my favor, you know what I'm saying? All the police officers, they knew all the children's parents. Children would never get into a situation and the first impulse of a police officer was to send them to jail. No. The first impulse was, you know what? I'm going to tell Miss So-and-so. Let them come with me and go knock on the mother's door and say, Miss So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so, well, such and such is doing this. I don't want to arrest them. I don't want to bring them to the cell. Okay? Or take them to the jail. Back in the islands, we say cell. We barely use the term jail or prison. Well, prison is the main one. But when you take somebody to central booking, whatever, we didn't call it central booking. You know what I mean? We call it cell, all right? Or jail, all right? But the point is, police officers wasn't so amped to lock up people's children. They had a relationship with the community. And that's why it's important to have police officers who reflect us, who are there to protect us, that have our best interests at heart. Not every time a brother breathes too hard or a sister breathes too hard, you want to take them to jail and give them a record. I didn't grow up in that kind of environment. Okay? Now, within our village, Gota village, right? Within Gota village, there was rules. And any neighbor that was within 8 houses, they could have whooped your ass. Real talk. Any neighbor that was in the village, I would say 8 houses or 10 houses away from yours. If you did something and they whooped your ass and you go complain to your mother would come back and whoop your ass again for coming to tell her that the neighbor whooped your ass. Because that was what we had. Village raised the children. We took care of each other. So I'm telling you all that so you know what I came from and where I came from and the character and what built me. And that's why I am the way that I am. And nobody could take that away from me. You see, my parents instilled that in me. The values, the morals. You feel me? I had never seen my father put his hand on my mother. Yes, they had their little debates, but it never got to a point where they got disrespectful, disrespecting each other. No. They respected each other, at least in our presence. You feel me? Every Sunday evening, neighbors would come over and we would play cards. We would play a game called 500. All right? 500 is a game where, I don't know what you guys call it, but everybody would get 7 cards, right? You could play with partners. You could play 2-on-2. You could play, 2 people could play and 4 people could play partners, right? And you make what they call hands. I think it's kind of similar to spades. You could make what you call hands, and you could make flush, you could make threes, whatever. And then when you are done, you add up your points to see who get to 500 first. So we call that 500. Every evening, all right, family used to come and play. We used to play that. We used to play what we call draft. You guys may know it as checkers, but we call it draft. We never call it checkers. So we used to play draft. We used to go play cricket. You know what I mean? So it was just so much fun growing up in the islands. Now, don't get me wrong, in the village, there was beef. There was people beefing. You feel me? There were people beefing. And let me see, somebody says. So yeah, Gin Romy was actually another. I'm trying to see if Gin Romy was 500. Is the same thing. Romy. Yeah, I think, you know what? It's kind of similar to Gin Romy. Brian, you're right. It's similar to that, but we added up the points. You know what I mean? But yes, there were people in the community who had beef in the village. I mean, we didn't have guns. We didn't use guns. 1 or 2 people may have had guns, but when you had beef and it was serious beef, you pull out the machete, the cutlass, what we call a cutlass, right? And a cutlass is, we didn't say machete, we call it cutlass, right? And literally, I have seen with my own eyes, I have seen men cut other men's leg off. I'm talking about from the thigh down or from the limbs down. I have seen men cut people's left shoulders off. There was a gentleman named Champy. I saw Champy leg got cut off. And literally that leg stayed on the ground while he was hopping away on one leg for his life. I have seen those things. To me, hey, and I hear some people say they would rather get shot with a gun than get cut with a machete. Because I'm telling you, machete cuts are very dangerous, man. Dangerous. All right. But those are some of the experiences. Again, teaching you a little bit of the culture. All right. We used to go in the river, right? For those of you who don't know, Dominica has 365 rivers. As a matter of fact, it has the most rivers in the world. 365. We have one for every day of the year. Well, now to me, a lot of them look like streams, but they call them river. Hey, you know what I mean? It is what it is, right? I'm not going to discredit Dominica. Oh, by the way, the original name for Dominica is called Weti Kubuli. That was the name of Dominica. All right. The indigenous name is Weti Kubuli, which means slender is her body or beautiful is her body. All right. And Dominica is known as the nature island of the Caribbean. All right. So we used to go bathe in the river. Now, true story. We used to bathe in the river and everybody was naked. And we didn't look at the girls in a negative way. All right. The girls didn't look at us in a negative way. We were just having fun. That is the culture that I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? That is just the culture I grew up with. All right. I remember one day, right? Now we have something that's called a tubuchet. A tubuchet is the indigenous word that we use for what they call, I don't know if somebody could help me out. It's called, I think, a whirlpool. Like, you know, when you go in either the river or the sea, all right? And it looks like a tornado, but it's in the water, okay? Where the top is a little wider, and the further you go to the bottom, it gets smaller. I'm not sure if anybody could help me with that. Can anybody tell me maybe the name? I don't know if you guys have a different name for it on the mainland, but it's in the water, all right? And it goes around in a circle like a tornado, right? And then it starts wide and like it spirals, but it's in the water. Can anybody help me out here? Anybody know the name for that? Well, okay, you guys call it whirlpool. All right, Brian. Well, we call it tubuchet. All right, we call it tubuchet. That's the Creole name, the Patois indigenous name for that, tubuchet, right? So we used to go in the river, and I have seen with myself. Nobody told. It's not a story that anybody told me. I saw one of the tubuchet took one of my friends, and he disappeared. Because what it is, once it pull you into the water, it takes you into a different part of the country or the world. And we never saw him again. Another thing, right? We used to go dive in the water, in the river, right? And one of my friends, you know, we were daredevils, but he took a chance. And when he dove in the water was so shallow that his head hit a rock and it split the middle of his head. He didn't die though, but they had to take him to the hospital. All right. Now I know some of you, I'm not saying that was fun. I'm just letting you know the natural way of life. All right. That we just had when we were going to school, right? We have to now grammar school was across the water of Goodwill. Now Goodwill is just the general. How would I see if I could describe that? Goodwill would be the city, but Gotha would be the township. I'm trying to, you know, give you guys words or terms that you're familiar with, right? So when we live Gotha village, right, we would have to walk to Bowers Lane, right, and go all the way into the city, all right, and cross over the bridge and go to high school. Go to high school, which was grammar school. But there would be a shortcut, right? Sometimes we would just go up Goodwill by Princess Margaret Hospital, and we would roll our pants up, take our shoes off, and cross the river. That would literally save us half an hour, and we would go to school, right? So my high school first crush, her name was Oyen. All right, she went to the school she went to was Convent High School, and guess how she became my girlfriend? She became my girlfriend the first day she allowed me to hold her hand. Now, that's how innocent this stuff was. You see what I'm saying? I didn't have to have sex with her. Even before I kissed her. You know what I'm saying? Like, they used to have these little candies, right? And they had little love notes on them. Like, they would have little quotations on them. And then another quotation always said, "I love you." But on top of the one that say "I love you," they would have certain things like, "Oh, you are beautiful," or "I like your smile," or then I would have pockets of candy, all right, with those little sayings on them. And I would be giving her one every time I see her. We went to different schools, but I would make sure I rush, all right, from my school to the entrance of her school so I could talk to her while she's going home. I remember she never used to talk to me, man, never. But then one day she spoke to me, and that made my day, right? So I would always give her these little rappers, all right? And then I made a cassette tape with all my favorite songs. I gave that to her one day. And then the next day she came to school. When I was walking with her, she just held my hand. And we didn't have to say anything. That confirmed she was my girlfriend. You know what I mean? And that was that. Beautiful. That girl was my first love. But also, she was my first heartbreak. And I'll tell you why. Because I was getting to be a young man, and I wanted to have my own way. All right? Not that my parents were ill-treating me. No. It is because I wanted to find myself. I knew there was something more in me. All right? I knew there was something more in me. And I remember I told my mother, you know what? I want to travel. Okay? And I'm just going to keep it 100. One day, what gave me the motivation to get up at the age of 17 and a half to say I'm going to leave Dominica was, I think I was about 16 or approaching 17. And I can't remember exactly what I did, but my mother took a broomstick, and she whooped my ass. And I got so mad that I wanted to hit my mom, in retaliation. And my mom wasn't gonna play that. I know she would have killed me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? It's time to leave home. And what really solidified that was one day, my father put me to kneel down in the backyard, and he took an electrical cord and he was gonna beat me with it. Again, I can't remember what I did. And then when he put his hands up to hit me the first stroke or the first lick, whatever you want to call it, I stood up and I held that electrical cord and I said, nah, not today. You're not going to touch me. You feel me? And my father said, oh, you think you're a man now, huh? You think you're a man now? I said, Dad, nah, man. Well, I didn't say dad. I said daddy, right? Because that's what we used to call, daddy. I said, daddy, nah, you're not going to hit me today, man. If you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. You know what I mean? Because I got to the point where I felt like, you know what? I was becoming a man. I wanted to live by my own codes and ethics. You feel me? You raised me well, you did your job, but now I got to do me. And mind you, I'm 17, all right? Already a little taller, almost the same height with my dad, okay? And when he realized I wasn't budging, he said, nah, kneel down. I was like, no. And he said, oh, well, I'm going to fight you like a man. I said, go ahead. When he realized, all right, and like I said, rest in peace, Dad. Still love my dad, all right? Never ill-treated me, you know what I mean? So I'm just telling you my story, my journey, part of that. Like I said, I've done it before, all right? But that's what the Spirit guided me to talk about today. When my father realized I wasn't budging, tears came down in his eyes. And I guess to me, that was just, how would I put it? That was just confirmation for him that his little boy was finally a man. And from that day, my father never put his hand on me again. Never put his hand on me again. He respected me as a man. You feel me? And we did more things together than we had ever done. You see what I mean? I'm saying all that to say, when it was time for me to say, okay, Mom, Dad, I'm going to leave Dominica. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going. And my first choice, and like I said, I've told y'all that before. My first choice was England, right? Go to London, because I had grandparents in England. I had cousins, I had uncles, you know what I mean? I had aunts, you know what I mean? And I wanted to go to England. But then I've always heard stories from people from the Caribbean. Every time you go to England and you spend more than 10 years, when you come back home, you come back crazy. And I was like, nah, I don't want to come back crazy. So I'm not going to England. I want to go to the United States. I don't know what it was that was drawing me to the mainland, but I wanted to go to the mainland. It was just an energy that was pulling me to the mainland. So I told my mother, I want to go to the mainland. All right. I left, went to St. Thomas. I stayed in St. Thomas for a year. All right. Learned the skill, how to make lenses for glasses, you know what I mean, with my hands from scratch. I could still do that up to this day if I have the machines, right? And a year later, or almost a year later, I came into Brooklyn. Now that was a whole different beast. Never felt cold before in my life. I came dead winter. You feel me? With a little denim jacket, JFK. I remember that vividly. All right. And when I stepped out of the airport, man, I thought somebody opened up a refrigerator in the atmosphere. So I told my cousin, why do they have why they have the AC on outside? Now I'm outside. I'm thinking it's the air condition from JFK that's literally making the atmosphere cold, because I've never felt that before. So I tell her, like, why outside the airport is so cold? Why did they turn the AC off? She said, no, that's how it is. I was like, damn, I've never felt that before, right? So that was my first taste of the cold. Man, that was crazy. But anyway, let me just, backtrack a little bit. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit of a crush that I had on a celebrity, right? So Janet Jackson, I'm going to come back to JFK, in a few, but Janet Jackson was my celebrity crush. I mean, man, I love Janet Jackson. For all you brothers that's watching right now, man, I don't know how you feel about Janet Jackson, but I'm going to press 1 because Janet Jackson was my crush. So if Janet Jackson was one of your crushes, man, go ahead and put in 1 in there because she was one of my crushes, right? So I'm going to be the first one to put in 1. All right. So anyway, I had a crush on Janet Jackson to the point where I felt I needed to get in touch with Janet Jackson. Now, mind you, I'm in Dominica and I'm like about 13 or 14, right? Still in high school. Okay. And I'm like, yo, I gotta find a way to tell Janet Jackson how I feel about her. I don't know what to do, how to get in touch with her, but every time I see Janet, whether it may be on Good Times or whatever it was, I had a crush on Janet. Okay, so I wrote a letter, family true story. I'm telling you, no lie. Okay, I wrote a letter. I took my time at the age of 13 or 14. I think 14 because yeah, I was already in high school. I took a pen and paper and I wrote a letter to Janet Jackson telling her how much I love her, how much I have a crush on her, how I feel about her. I will protect her. I was just 2-page letter. And then I bought an envelope. There was a corner store. There was a dude named Cine, right? Cine had a store. And I went and bought an envelope with my little pennies, right? And I got my envelope, I got my stamp, and I took my letter and I put my letter, okay, with a little rose petal. I put it in the letter, and then I closed it, put my stamp, and all I did was, okay, I put to Janet Jackson, family true story, to Janet Jackson, United States, America, and I mailed it out, thinking that my letter was gonna get to Janet Jackson. I don't know where the hell that letter is by now, all right, but I sent that out. Okay, didn't have I thought I had all you have to do was just put Janet Jackson, United States of America, and I mailed it out. Now, back then, that was the most adorable thing I'd ever done. But looking at it now, it was silly, right? But that's what I did. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys, right? So going back to JFK now. So I'm in the airport. I'm like, damn, it's cold. So I went with my cousin, family, 6 months into me being here. I was homeless. 6 months. I was homeless. All right. And had to find my way. Now, in the midst of finding my way, I grew up in Brooklyn, all right, on East 94th. And anybody who know about Brooklyn in the 90s, a real bad man, they about real bad man. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about the police was afraid to come into the neighborhoods in Brooklyn. Not just Brooklyn per se, but in the 90s. A pure man from Gaza and Gaulie and I'm telling you, all right, until Giuliani said, nah, we cannot have the police afraid of the people. That's how crazy it was. So I grew up around real gunman and man selling drugs and them thing there. Yo, it was serious. All right. But I'm saying all this to say, not to impress you, but to impress upon you that the foundation that you have, that's what's going to carry you through in life. Because regardless of what the situation was, I never sold drugs. I had friends who were gangsters. I had friends who was in gangs. I had friends who were gang bangers. I had friends who were selling drugs and robbing people, who would try to invite me to go on moves with them. But I always revert. I reverted to how my mother raised me, to how my father raised me, what they instilled in me. And mind you, a young man, barely 18, well, about 18. You see what I'm saying? And no friends whatsoever. I remember me walking on the streets of Brooklyn and telling people good morning and good afternoon and good evening. And people thought I was crazy. They say, oh, you're not from here, are you? I say, nah, I'm from Dominica. They say, oh, well, that makes sense because people don't tell people good morning. People don't respect their elders. And I found that really strange. You see what I'm saying? I found that really strange because that was foreign to me. Not respecting my elders was foreign. Not walking in the streets and saying hi and good day and good evening was foreign. Okay? In the islands, when I grew up, When we saw a sister and we say hi, she didn't think you were trying to talk to her, no, because it was the respect that we had for each other. So when I came to the mainland, I'm like, oh, something is wrong. But I knew that something huge and something major was going to happen in my life. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew that there was something in me that took me on this journey. There was something that in me that put the thought in my head. If I went to England, that if I go back to Dominica, I would go back crazy. Now I need to go to the United States. You feel me? And looking back, now I could see what this journey was preparing me for. All right. The first year or year and a half of being in the United States, I was homeless twice. And that didn't faze me for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I slept on a park bench. I remember when they had the quarter juices, okay? Juices for a quarter. And I used to buy that. And I used to buy a quarter bread or a banana. And that's what I would have all day. I used to go to the park and do sit-ups to keep my stomach tight so that I don't get hungry. So when you see people, you don't know what their path was. You don't know what their journey was. You see what I'm saying? Nobody could tell me what my story is. Nobody could tell me that. Nobody could tell me the path that I walk. That's why nobody could tell me what to do with my life right now. I don't owe anybody anything. The only people that I owe that to is my mom and dad, because they instilled that in me. You feel me? And I'm telling you, I remember, all right, a few of my friends, they was gonna go on a move, right? They had found, I don't know what it was, but they found they had a lot of weed. I'm talking about a few bags, and they was hustling. They wanted me to go hustle with them, and I say nah. Because you know why? I saw them getting arrested. Every other week, one of them was in handcuffs. All right. In Brooklyn, I see a couple of my friends get shot. And I just didn't want to be around that. I just didn't want to be around that. So at a very early age, I learned how to take care of myself. And how did I do that? All right. I learned how to gamble. I became a poker player at a very young age, because I didn't want to go do things that was going to put me behind bars. Because you know why? That would have brought too much shame to my mom and my dad and my sisters and my brothers and my family. Because you see, when you get locked up, you're not the only one getting locked up. Your mother is getting locked up. Your father is getting locked up. Your brother, your sister, your grandmother. I was my grandmother's favorite child. And just imagine her hearing me getting locked up for selling drugs or gang banging. No, I couldn't do that. So I have to find another way to take care of me. So I learned how to gamble. I learned how to play poker, and I became a very good one at that. And that taught me a couple of valuable lessons. When you play poker, you got to know the rules are. You got to know the game. And secondly, you got to know the players. So I learned how to look at people's bodies, their facial expressions, when they have good hands and when they have bad hands. Man, I became skillful. It became a skill. I learned the game. I didn't know the game. Shoot. I didn't. But they taught me. They taught me the game. And I played with the people who taught me the game. But what they didn't know was my mind, I had a different mentality. I was already programmed to be a winner. You dig? So I learned their mannerisms. You feel what I'm saying? I learned when they have cards and when they are bluffing and when they are not. I could see that in their eyes. I could see it in the way their hand twitch or the way their shoulders move. Family, it was a skill. And then the place that I was gambling, there was a brother named Stingo, one of my Vinci brethren. He from Vinci, I'm St. Vincent, right? So big up to all the Vinci massive, right? Because the Vinci people, all right, fellow Kalinago and Garifuna, right? They embrace me as one of their own. So when I'm in Brooklyn, when I speak like a West Indian and all them thing there, right? People think I is a Vinci when I talk like that, but I ain't no Vinci. You know, I was born in Dominica. I even forget how to talk like a Dominican because I've been talking like a Vinci for so long. You know what I mean? But a lot of people think I is a Vinci, but I ain't no Vinci. But the point is, the Vincentians embraced me as their son. They adopted me and they taught me. And one day, this dude named Stingo, one of my brethren, right? He came into the basement where we was gambling. And he said, listen, man, I don't know what it is about you, but I come down here every other night and you always hear playing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But let me tell you something about these dudes. I've known a lot of these men, and I'm a young bull. I'm a young man, a young bull, right? And all the men they was older than me, OGs, right? I grew up around the elders. And he said, listen, let me give you some advice. I've known these guys even when I was in St. Vincent. And the same way they are right now, just drinking, smoking, and gambling, they have always done that. And they're still doing that today. I don't want that for you. It's just something in you. Would you like to come work with me? I want to teach you my trade. I want to teach you how to be a locksmith. He told me exactly what he did, right? He used to be a locksmith. When the sheriffs took people's cars, they would sell them at the auctions. And of course, if they took your car, they ain't got the keys, right? So he used to be one of the locksmiths on the premises making the keys. So that was his job. I say, you know what, man, thank you. He took me on the job. Now, there was this Spanish dude named from Dominican Republic, not Dominica where I was born, but Dominican Republic close to Haiti, right? His name was Frankie. Big dude, man, think he big and all that. But at that time, I was like 240, solid, stock. You know what I mean? Diesel. All right? So when Stingo took me to the job, Frankie didn't want me to come to the job because he didn't want me to eat. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, nah, everybody hustling. He's like, nah, man, you can't bring another mouth here to get fed. Nah, he can't come. So I fell back. And what I did was I was helping Stingo did his jobs because I couldn't get my own jobs because, you know, Frankie was blocking, you know what I'm saying? He was hating. I said, it's all good. You know, I'm new to the game. You see, and I'm saying all that to say, show you character. Don't fight every battle. It wasn't time for me to fight that battle. You feel me? So I let him take his W's. But to me, it wasn't an L. I took that L, all right, and turned it upside down. I flipped it into a stepping stone and said, you know what? Now, learn this trade. Become the best at it. And brothers and sisters, I learned how to make keys. I'm talking about not with machines, but with a grip, a vice grip, the blank, and a file. And up to this present day, I can walk up to any car right now. That's not one of the electronic cars that have a key, and I could make the key for the car. Up to this present day, I have that skill. But I learned to take just a vice grip and the blank of that car, okay, the blank, and use a file, and I would make those keys. Now, how you did it? You file, you use the file. You file both sides of the key, as sharp like the edges of a knife, and then you take it and you put it in the keyhole with your vice grip, and you rock it to the left, you rock it to the right, up and down, and it made impressions. They were called impressions because in the keys, in the locks, they have impressions, okay? And the impressions would be on the key. You take it off and then you file it with your file, and then you do it again until it fit in perfectly, until the lock turned, okay? And I became so good. And even jobs that Frankie couldn't do, because the Ford Expeditions, they have the cuts, they have the impressions, but they have an extra 5 impressions, and they call them a 10 cut. A 10 cut is a key that normally keys have 5 impressions or 6, but the Ford Expedition had 10 impressions. And I became so skilled, it would take them at least half an hour to make that key. I became so skilled, I made the Ford impressions in less than 10 seconds. I mean, in less than 10 minutes, sometime in 5 minutes, sometime in 3 minutes. I just had the knack for it. And then one day, Frankie, the same dude who didn't want me to come on the job, okay? He said it was time for me to get my own jobs, right? He didn't want me to get my own jobs. And I'm like, nah, I'm like, yo, listen, bro. I've been on this job for 6 months, paying my dues. All right. I'm gonna get me some jobs. Now he's like, nah, man, no, we ain't doing that. You want to fight? I'm like, yeah, let's fight. Now, at that time I was ready. But then when me and him stood face to face, a couple of his Spanish brethren, them, right? A couple of Latino guys, Dominican and Puerto Rican guys, they all came together and they tried to fight me. So I said, you know what? Nah, it's not time for that battle. So what I did was I went back to Brooklyn, okay, because I was working in Queens. Went back to Brooklyn that evening after work, and I went to my boys, the same boys that were gunslinging and gang banging. I never looked down on them, and they respected that. Even if I didn't want to go sell drugs and gang bang, they respected the fact that I didn't judge them. I didn't judge them because every time I came from work, I knew sometimes they didn't have money. I would give them money to go buy their beers and do what they got to do. You know what I'm saying? I would buy food and feed them. But when I went to Brooklyn and I told them what happened, I said, yo, I got a problem on the job. You know what I'm saying? And this dude named Cranny, all right? Cranny was a real gangster, all right? I told Cranny what happened. Cranny said, you know what, bet. I'm going to come to work with you tomorrow. All right. And back in those days, a brother's word was his bond. So I know if Cranny tell me he was going to show up, he would have showed up. I gave Cranny the address for the job where I was working in Queens. And when that next day I went to the job and I told Frankie, I'm getting some work today. Okay. He had his Spanish boys ready to fight. All of a sudden, I see Cranny coming with at least 7 of my dogs from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? And say, yo, what's good, son? You know what I mean? And it was about to pop off. When they realized that now I had my own goons, Frankie said, okay, you know what? You got it. You know, you could get your jobs. All right. Now that was time for me to fight that battle. You see, there were many battles that I had to avoid to get to the war. That was the war. And guess what? That day I won the war. And from that day, me and Frankie, we became best friends on the job. And we were the ones giving people jobs. I became a boss on that job. Again, I am saying this not to impress you, but to impress upon you. You don't have to fight every battle. Sometimes it's okay to walk away, family. It's okay to walk away. And that only comes from discipline, building character. Don't allow people to pull you into things they want to see you in because for their reasons. Okay? If it's not gonna benefit you, you dig, then don't get fed into people's illusions. And I worked as a locksmith there for a while. All right? Now, I did that for a couple of years. All right? It wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough to keep me off the streets. It was enough to keep me from going and selling drugs. And like I said, I didn't judge my boys. That was their life. But I remembered in the back of my mind, what if I got arrested? How would my mother feel? How would my mother feel? Now, back in the days, right? They used to have these calling cards. And a lot of people used to use those. They had the payphones. And a lot of people used to use those calling cards to make calls to the Caribbean and different places of the world. And I had a connection where I was getting calling cards, right? And I used to stand up by the payphone. And people used to give me donations so they could make long distance calls, right? And every single time, all right, people would try to rob me for my cards or my money. So I knew that was a test. I knew it was the adversary. It was the devil. It was Satan. And don't get me wrong, Satan or the devil of the adversary is nothing but your own mind. It is not a man with a pitchfork, you know what I'm saying, with a red outfit in hell sitting down waiting for you. No, it's your mind. But that was a test. You see, we all have to go through our test. And that was a test. And dudes were starting to threaten me because I was doing my little hustle on the block with the calling cards. So I went to Cranny, one of my boys. I said, yo, I need to protect myself. So he told me if I buy a gun from him, right, he'll give me one free. So I bought a gun from him, a 9mm. All right. I bought a 9mm and he gave me one free. So I got two 9mm. So all of a sudden, I'm emboldened. I'm feeling like I'm a gangster now, right? Every single day I'm walking around. I'm walking around with two guns in my waist. And I remember one time I went to gamble, okay? And I lost literally pretty much all my money. And I was tight. And thoughts start coming into my head now. Thoughts that I never had in my mind started coming into my mind. Well, you got guns now, you could go rob. You know what I mean? And I'm just letting you know the journey, the progress. You see what I'm saying? And I say, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to fall into that. But one day, I had my calling cards. It was about 6 p.m. because I know people was getting off work and people would come to the phones and make their phone calls, right? And I had two guns in my waist, right? And I walk up East 90 for those of you who probably know Brooklyn, I used to live on Winthrop and 96th Street, right? And I walk up 96th Street, okay? I walk up 96th Street and they had about 8 payphones on the walls. And people would, so just know, you know, getting donations for calling cards was a beautiful thing, right? So with that being said, I'm here doing my little hustle. And then all of a sudden, the police caravan pulled up. No joke. Okay, true story. It was about 7 police officers in that caravan. And they had dudes on the corner hustling, selling their weed, doing what they was doing. I was doing my calling cards, right? The police came and they had a bullhorn. And they said, everybody that's on the corner, we want y'all to line up. Line up against the wall. Okay? Line up against the wall. And no joke, that lineup was about, I would say about 15 to 20 dudes. And I was number 7 or number 8. I can't remember exactly, but I knew I wasn't in the end. I wasn't in the beginning. I wasn't in the end, but I wasn't exactly in the middle. So I think I was about number 7 or number 8. And they called for more backup. And 2 more police cars came. So literally they had about, I would say probably about maybe 15 police officers. Okay? The police said, everybody hands on the wall, and they started searching people. Family, this is a true story. Now I'm here shaking in my pants. All I'm seeing is myself going to jail. I'm going to prison. You feel me? I mean, I felt the pee coming. I didn't pee on myself, but it was close. They searched. The sergeant came. No, it wasn't the sergeant. It was another police officer with 2 straps, right? And then another, he was right next to the other one that was searching people, telling them what, standing up, making sure he's doing what he's doing. And they were searching people one at a time. But the others was just back with their guns in their hands, making sure that, you know, nothing got out of control, because the 90s was real bad. All right, the 90s was bad. That's when Giuliani said, now we're gonna, that was in the 90s. We're gonna make sure that we take back the community from the people. All right. So the police officer searched number 1. Okay, nothing. Here, so let him go. Number 2, family. I was number 7 or number 8. But when they got to me, all right before they got to me, there was one dude before me they were searching. All of a sudden, I heard a voice said, officer such and such, could you come here for a second? The officer came, all right? And then when the officer came back, all of a sudden, they just told everybody to leave. What happened? They got another call of a shooting 5 blocks down. I was literally the next up to get searched. And that was a turning point in my life. I say, you know what? Those guns, that is not how your mother raised you. All right? Now, if you want to defend yourself, put your knuckles up. All right? I mean, practice what you did in the karate movies, but put this gun down. It's going to send you to jail. And that was, from that day, I put those guns down. I gave them away. All right? And there was always something in me, all right, that knew there was something greater, something bigger. And I was in the at that time was, I mean, listen, man, time was rough. Okay, time was rough. No money was flowing because the job that I was making, the keys slowed down. All right. The gambling was pretty much for fun. We was gambling like 25 cents and 50 cents. So it wasn't no big set of money. You know what I'm saying? Maybe dollar game sometimes, you know what I mean? But the point is, when you don't have a job and you have rent to pay, times get really hard and you get desperate, right? So I was one. I gambled one time. I lost like about $500, right, playing a dollar game. And one of my friends was like, you know what? Yo, let's go to a club. I'm like, nah, man, I lost my money. I ain't going to no damn club. He was like, nah, man, let's just go to we haven't been out in a while, right? So I said, cool. When he said, don't worry if you ain't got no money, I got you, right? Went home, took a shower, got dressed. I went to this club they used to call Caribbean City on Empire Boulevard in Brooklyn, right? They call it the Buzz now, right? And while I was in there, I was having a good time, still thinking of the money that I lost. And I was like, you know what? Just forget it. Have a good time. And I seen this dude at the bar popping champagne. This dude had a lot of champagne popping, right? And my friend knew him. So he went to the bathroom, and then it's like literally half an hour or more, and I can't see this dude. I'm like, yo, what's going on? So I walk towards the bar. He's at the bar drinking champagne while I'm on the dance floor. I'm like, you dirty bastard. He didn't even invite me, but I ain't stressing because I wasn't a drinker anyway, right? So he introduced me to the guy that had the champagne, all right? I'm talking about 15 bottles of Moet and girls all around him. And I was like, wow, that's impressive, right? So he called me over. My boy introduced me to him and said, hey, you know what, that's my boy, blah, 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 blah. Now, the dude who had the champagne, me and him kind of looked alike. I had a bald head then, 243 pounds solid, right? So that same night, he started introducing me, to his people, to all his friends as his cousin. That very morning after the club, he had a limo outside, got in the limo, took a couple of girls to breakfast, and then they dropped me home. And that was that. He gave me his card. He owned a beauty salon, right? And then he told me, come check him, later in the afternoon, like about, Sunday, about 4 or 5 o'clock. I jumped on the bus, went down Atlantic Avenue, and I went to his beauty salon, sat down. He told me, this is what I do. I own this beauty salon and I do shows for ladies. All right. He promote male dancers. And he was like, man, help me promote. So I used to get up, dress in my suit, go to the subway station and give out flyers. Now, I used to go to these shows and just help out. All right. I used to be a waiter, right? I would oil my body up and I got my jeans and my Timbs, you know what I'm saying? And I would, bald head, and I'm talking about 246 pack and rip, and I would be one of the waiters at the shows. And I did that for about a year. And I'm looking at all these dudes dancing. I'm like, if this fat dude could do this, I could do that. And all the ladies was like, oh, now we want to see him. We want to see him. And I was shy, man. I was shy. But after being around it and seeing, that dudes are making money, and, I say, you know what, man, I'm going to try this out. And I hit the stage. The very first day I hit the stage, man, it was a beautiful thing, And I did that. That was the first event that I did. And then all of a sudden, my name was on flyers. I became the best at doing that. Once again, the foundation of when you get into something is either you're going to do it and give it your all or don't do it at all. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I started doing the shows, being part of the production team, because I just didn't want to be the performer. I wanted to be part of the production team until when my cousin, the same dude, all right, he gave it up because he had to go back to Barbados, right? And I took it over. And I took over the production, all right? I became the best in New York. And so now you have people, oh, well, there's a picture of me on Playgo Centerfold. Oh, well, he was in Playgo. Yes, I was. So what? I was the best in New York, whoever did it, until where Playgo called me. And they was like, well, we would like you to be on the magazine. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they wanted to do a test photo shoot. Did the test photo shoot. They was like, oh, man, you photogenic. All right, we want to use we want to use you in the magazine, right? We're gonna pay you such and such. And I was like, cool. That's cool. But then I thought about it and I'm like, hold up. I do shows for women and I normally have at least 500 to 1,000 women sometimes at the shows. I don't need you. You know what I'm saying? I already got my own thing going on. So if I'm going to be in your magazine, I want the cover. It's either you're going to give me the best or I don't want it. So that was the proposal. I told him, listen, cool, thank you. But the only way I'm going to be in your magazine is if you give me the cover or else I don't want it. All right. So they said, okay, we'll think about it. They came back with a proposal. All right. Well, we was going to give you such and such to be in the magazine. You know, how much do you want to be on the cover? I gave them a number. They came back. They gave me a number. I gave them another number and they gave me a number and we made a deal. All right. Did the photo shoot. And yes, first, whatever they call it to be on the magazine of cover and centerfold of Playgirl. Did that. You know what I'm saying? At that time, Korea started kicking off, starting to do little movies here, you know, Above the Rim with Tupac. You know, I was one extra in there. I was an extra with, you know, Woody Allen in another movie. Then American Gangster. I was in the scene in Madison Square Garden in the ring where they had one of the dudes with the afros, right? I was one of those dudes there, literally stand with Denzel face to face. All right. And he looked at me and I'm looking at him dead. I'm talking about literally 2 feet away from me, watching me in my eye, and I'm watching him. All right. Because I'm supposed to be one of the coaches for one of the fighters. Who coach I was? I wasn't on the ring side of one of the fighters. All right. But anyway, it was the scene in Madison Square Garden. And Denzel looked at me and I looked at him and I'm like, yeah, I know you see me. One of these days, I'm going to be somebody. You know what I mean? I'm going to do my thing. You know what I mean? But anyway, that was that, right? So it was good. You know, I got a decent, you know, check for, and here's the thing, right? When I went to audition for American Gangster, I went to audition as a regular extra. As a regular extra. But literally somebody came and took my hand out of, I'm talking about over 200 extras, took my hand and said, hey, listen, you know what? We got a role for you. They bump, it's called a bump up. So they bumped me up as an extra to another role, right? And that's when they gave me the role to be one of the people on the ringside with the afro, all right? So it was just a beautiful thing. But what made me give up the pursuing that lifestyle, you know, in terms of acting and all those things was I went to an audition one time, okay? Because I was modeling. I was in magazines and all that stuff, different magazines modeling, right? Modeling clothes, not without clothes, with clothes, all right? And I had sent out, I had an agent, right? And the agent sent me on a casting call and I went on the call, okay? And they wanted a model to be the spokesmodel for a brand, all right? Now, I went to the audition and there was a gentleman there, right? I gave him my portfolio, was impressed with the pictures and everything. But then he had his secretary, right? But the secretary was outside the office and I'm in the office. He loved the portfolio and everything. But then dude got up, closed his door, and he was like, you know, how much do you want this modeling thing? I was like, well, you know, yeah, I mean, I definitely want to do my thing. You know, I want to model, become an actor and do what I got to do, you know? He was like, well, what would you do? I'm like, what you mean, what would I do? I don't get it. Like, I know what he's talking about, but I'm trying to act stupid. You know what I'm saying? To see if this dude really going to disrespect me. You know what I mean? So he was like, well, why don't you take off your clothes and model for me? I'm like, bruh. I say, yo, you know what? Do me a favor, bruh. Let me get my portfolio and call your secretary and tell her to get me out of here because at that time I'm still, you know, have this hood mentality, you know, and I was ready to whoop his ass. So he called the secretary and she came rushing in. What's going on? Do you want me to call the police? I say, yeah, call the police because I'm about to whoop his ass. You know what I mean? And that was that for me. With that experience, I left that alone. And I said, you know what? No more modeling for me. Let me just do what I got to do with my dancing. And that's that. And I just left that alone. Portfolio pictures, burn that up. Never went for casting calls. Never did none of that. So I was good. All right. But coming up to me having my son, I had my son. All right. When in 2000, that changed my life. You know what I'm saying? It took me to another level of ascension in just preparing me for this journey. And in 2000, and based on the experience and what I went through with my son, in 2009, or 2007, 8, I created an organization called The Father in Me. Just because of what I went through with the system of being a great father, a dad, and the system was trying to paint me as a deadbeat. And I saw in this court system, fathers literally breaking down. I'm talking about grown men breaking down, crying because of what child support was doing to them. And they were being good fathers. So I decided to form an organization called The Father in Me. And the mission was to teach fathers about my journey. If I could be a father and going through what I'm going through with my son, you could do it too as well. And I had a big rally in front of the family court on behalf of fathers. And it was a beautiful thing. All right. And I was talking to men about teaching them how to be a father, you know what I'm saying? And what, not to do, and don't allow the woman to get on your nerve, and just be there for your child, And that was great. Not knowing that my ancestors was preparing me for something greater. All right. And then I don't know how it came about. One day it just came into me that it dawned on me that everybody around me was calling themselves black. And I'm like, hold up, I'm not black. And then I started doing videos, because my videos started with my channel, my YouTube channel, all right, from talking about being a good father, all right, and talking about, I used to talk about the Bible and breaking things down, right? But I never spoke about us being indigenous or none of that, all right? I only started doing that about 6, 7 years ago, all right? I would say 8 for the most. But I went on YouTube and I started telling people that, yo, we are Amerindians. Now, in the Caribbean, we say Amerindians. We don't say American Indian. We say Amerindians, because that's what they taught us in school. Okay? So, with that being said, people just couldn't get it. I mean, there was no, like I said, I didn't know anybody on the internet talking about us being indigenous, all right? Of course, I didn't use the term indigenous, but I said Amerindians, right? So I started that. Man, and y'all know the rest, all right? Which brought me up to this journey right here. Okay? Brought me up to this journey right here. Okay? People always want to tell your story, but they don't know your story. You see, I've always had a love and a passion for people, but not just people, but my people. That has always been in me. Whether it may have been a father who didn't know how to be a father, whether it was a mother who was being vindictive because a father was being a father and she was trying to play him. I was the mediator, because as a performer, I catered to women, and I was literally like a therapist. They would call me, tell me problems and tell me situations, and they would tell me what they are doing to their children's fathers. So I have seen both sides where, yes, there are men who deserve to be put on child support, because nobody shouldn't have to tell you to take care of your child financially. Nobody. That is your responsibility as a man, period. But at the same time, there are men who are doing, and a lot of women are being vindictive. And I heard it and I experienced it in my own journey. And I heard women with their own mouths telling me what they were doing to their baby fathers and thinking it was a joke. So I have seen both sides of the spectrum. So I had to be a therapist to women who their baby fathers wasn't in the picture. And I had to, give them words of encouragement. And I have to be a therapist to those who were taking advantage of those men. And I have to be a therapist to brothers who were good fathers, but going through the system. And the system was taking advantage of them. And still I had to be a therapist to brothers who wasn't doing anything at all. Try to encourage them to be a good father. So those, you see, learning and harnessing those skills that I had brought me to where I'm at today. You feel me? And then I started talking about us being Amerindians and all that, and it led me up to this, where I'm at today. I'm saying all this to say, don't let anybody tell your story, but you. You dig? It's the same thing that we allowed. Our story is being told by his story and not ours. And you see the miseducation, the misinformation, the distorted information, the lies, the propaganda. So don't allow anybody to tell your story. You know what you went through. And I hear people talking about, well, you know, even if he used to do this, well, he made mistakes. No, it wasn't a mistake. I was proud to be a dancer. You feel me? I had suits every single day, performing for women, seeing smiles on their faces after all the stress that a lot of you men put them through. Make them feel wanted and appreciated, let them feel loved. That somebody could put a smile on your face. So no, it's not a mistake. No, I loved it. I enjoyed it. Nothing in my life is a mistake. It was a lesson learned. Took care of my son, private school. I did all that. But here I am today on a different journey that my ancestors put me on. And you have people out here trying to defame my name, scandalize, and people want to come, oh, Chief, prove to them this. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. The only thing you have to prove to yourself is you, because you are the one laying down at night by yourself. Even if you lay next to somebody, you're still by yourself because you are within your own thoughts. So let me share something with y'all again. I think I'm still sharing my screen. All right. Let me show you the state of mind of a lot of our people. And then when you hear people speaking and slandering and gossiping, a lot of you in your lower selves, that's what you gravitate to, because birds of a feather flock together. I got a call from a sister last night trying to convince me to go and appease one of the brothers that's out there slandering my name. Why would I do that? No. You see what I'm saying? No one, you see, you have free will. And for you to get up every single day and make up your mind to go slander somebody and gossip about somebody and spread rumors about somebody, that's intentional. These people are not my friends. They are not my brothers. They are not my sisters. Every skin folk and kinfolk. Well, you know what, Chief? Well, maybe he's trying to, be like you. If you're trying to be like me, then that's the way you approach people that you want to be like. But again, I'm just saying that to say, it's not that these things don't bother me, because I tell people I'm living my best life. I'm happy. Okay, my life is filled with bliss every single day. And brothers and sisters, we all have to go through our persecution. But I'll get into that in conclusion, because I have to link up with a couple of my brothers, because we have to go on a journey. So let me just see if I can wrap this up in about 27 minutes. But I'm going to share something with you, right? One of the gentlemen that's on Facebook, that used to be on Facebook, but on the internet, slandering my name. Okay, you tell me, how does it go from here to here? And you make that determination. You make that determination. So let me share this for you, or with you rather. There's this gentleman that identifies himself as Steph Savage, right? And normally I don't call these people's names in my mouth, but I just want you to see and understand the mentality of our people. Okay? A damaged people. You see, hurt people. And that's why I don't stress it. So I have to stay in my lane. But let me share this with you. The brother hit me up. I didn't hit you up. Okay? He hit me up. Okay? Check this out. Let me see, you guys can see the screen. All right? That was December 23rd, 2019 at 9:23 p.m. Now, mind you, he's one of the ones out there slandering my name right now. But let me ask you a question. Where did all this anger and hatred come from towards me? When you came to me calling me your brother. Now, let's read this, right? Hello there, fellow Can. I didn't even know what Can means. I don't know what that means. So normally when people call me things I don't know what it means, I just keep it simple and say brother or sister, because I don't want nobody put me in a box. You see, I'm a wise man, and I don't let people's suggestions affect who I am. I protect my energy, and I protect who I am. I protect my integrity. You feel me? So here we go. Like I said, December 23rd, 2019, 9:23 p.m. Hello there, fellow Can. I'm a young brother, 19, who love my history and would like to get some knowledge from you have a lot. I still want to know. I still want to know more. Now, I just looked up today what can meant. Okay? Can. What does can means? Can means a title given to rulers and officials in Central Asia, Afghanistan, and certain other Muslim countries. Any of the successors of a Genghis Khan, supreme rulers of Turkish, Tatar, Mongol peoples, and emperor of China in the Middle Ages. Now, if you're going to call me a fellow Khan, that means that that's who you are. But I never told you that's who I am. I'm not Asian, Asiatic. You see what I'm saying? Where's that again? Turkish, I'm not none of that. So I already see what perspective you're coming from. But that didn't resonate with me because I didn't know what it meant. All right? So you call me a fellow Khan. So, like I said, I didn't know what that means. So I responded. I said, Osio, and peace to you, brother, because I don't know what Khan means. I'm not going to say, well, hello, fellow Khan. I don't know what it means. Now that I just looked it up, I'm not Turkish. So now you're coming from that more Moorish perspective or African or Asian perspective. I'm not Asiatic. So I responded in one of my indigenous tongues. Okay? Osio. All right? Here we go. Give me a second here. All right? Appreciate you reaching out. By all means, I will share all I know, so it's all love. You see, brothers and sisters, I'm always about sharing. It doesn't matter who come to me. Anybody could tell you, all right? Let me go ahead and put me to the test. How many of these YouTube personalities, that you could pick up the phone and talk to on the phone? How many of them you could send an email to and they respond to immediately? How many of them you could text or send an inbox on, whether it may be Instagram or Facebook, and they respond immediately? Guess what? Chief-Kalinago always does. Okay? Always does. Because I know our people are thirsty, our people are reaching. And if somebody's reaching, they're making an effort. I feel like, you know what? I owe it to them to reach out. You feel what I'm saying? Because they came with love. At least that's what is being perceived, right? So I said, I share info all over my timeline and my YouTube, which is American Aboriginal Son. Much info with links and everything to research. Welcome to the awakening. All right. Again, the brother said he's 19. Come. All right. So let's rock. Okay. Where we at? Okay. I said, just so you know, the original name for Cherokee is Anionwea. I am of that lineage as well. Broke that down in videos on my YouTube. He said, I definitely will be checking you out on YouTube. I know you're true, and I can feel the frequency. And yes, if we could possibly build on them or send me the link video, I definitely want to learn what clan within the Anionwea would I be placed, right? Now, let's read that again. I definitely will be checking you on YouTube. I know you're the truth. So how do I go from a brother that's 19 coming to me December 23rd, okay, calling me your brother, telling me that, Chief, I know you're the truth, to you right now scandalizing my name? You see what I'm saying? So you see, when y'all don't know what's going on and I don't pay attention or fit into this negativity, is because I see the spirits and the hearts of these people. This is something internal with you. It's not with me. You did. Because how did I go from December 23rd, 2019 to being the truth and being your brother? What have I done then to make me your worst enemy? So you see, it's something that's within you. It's not me. Because I'm still doing the same thing I've always been doing. Nothing has changed. Anybody could go look at my track record. Go look at my timelines. I have always been on the same journey. Never have I diverted. Never. Okay? Let's read some more. And I'm just showing you guys, man, pay attention. Okay? I said, song's good, brother. Just on this indigenous grind, all day, every day to restore our people. We'll be in touch. One. He said, most deaf can. I still didn't know what that means. I didn't look it up. I didn't know what all that means. I gave a thumbs up. All right. Now I get another message. December 25th, 1:56 a.m. Do you follow the Old Testament as a history book and accept the Most High as Hawa also? I got another question. You can disregard the first one, but I am checking your vid, and how is it my grandmother told my aunt she was Cherokee and Blackfoot, and I did a little genealogy and went back to my great-great-grands, starting with my grandmother, and it says they lived and died in Gaffney, Cherokee County, South Carolina. My grandmother lived in Millersville, South Carolina. I said, peace, brother. Not sure if you wanted me to answer a question. He said, yeah, you can just answer the most recent I sent if you don't mind. I said, the Bible is a book of allegory, and it can be used in many contexts. I do not subscribe to any name of the Most High. People say Most High, but what or who is the Most High or most, right? Bible said, let us make man. So obviously there are many Most Highs. You can also use the Bible in court because the United States made the year of the Bible /Lord in 1983. Hope that helped. Okay. Then he said, I was talking about the other question originally, but the Old Testament is a history book, and our history here proves it. I am not speaking about the new. And when we said, let us make man, he also referred, he is the framer and the shaper, aka mother and father. That's what he means when he say us is the creator of all Greek mythology. Basically started from the Old Testament, when the so-called Satan was casted out of, wasn't the only one. An angel among human beings are basically gods. They are not the creator of all creators. And even the Greek mythology gods referred there is the Most High. They are also so-called mythology, which is truth, derived from our history with the Most High as we know it. All right. Here we go. Have to do it if cross connection and the etymology really understand the Bible. It's crazy. All right. I responded. The creator of creators means that the creator had a creator family. The Bible has nothing to do with a sky daddy, be it old or new. It's the story of the people who traveled to our lands and mixed with us, among other things. All right. He said, he asked, how when they came to our land and got this info from us? And what do you mean a family if he/she is the creator? Why would he need to create a family for himself? And the Elohim is not a sky daddy. You have wise info in parts of our almost recent history, but you got to go back further and continue going to before we were even called Indians. It don't just start there. It's a lot of proof that sums up who the American really is. It's a lot to learn about the Old Testament. I thought all Bibles were BS too, but they get this stuff from us and twist it up and give us false idols like Jesus, New Testament, to keep us from, to keep us from praising the Most High of the Old Testament. We are the Hebrew Israelite, just not with that BS African story, Egypt, Jerusalem, and half all the cities of the Bible are in America. Then, fam, can I prove? I said, brother, the world was connected for millions of years. People shared cultures. I go back even before the creator was created. You will get it one day, brother. I will break it down. I will break all this down in a video soon. Too much typing to explain. All books were written by men. I go when men didn't even communicate using physical sounds. All right. And he said, I don't know about the whole world sharing one culture. It's too many, and most are very different. And you go back before the creator. What do you mean? If you can go back that far, you have to be the creator yourself. Before, if he created all man and entities, how can you go back further? I am here to learn, though I may sound provoking, but I am really just crazy curious, right? And I said, never said one had one culture. Gotta read with understanding. Gotta get your head out of the Bible, of that Bible. You keep saying he. As I said, I will be doing a video on that. Just know that all creators have creators. The source was never created, right? And then he says what? You're right, my bad. I keep saying he because that's how I define the Most High. People won't understand if I speak of the Most High and say she, and I need to get the knowledge how all creators have creators. I'll be patient and I'll wait for you to drop your vid though. All right. I said it's okay, brother. You keep saying he because that's the program. Get your mind out of the box and you will see what's outside the box as well. Quick question for you. What came first, the chicken or the egg? All right. He said, LOL. I kind of wanted to deny that, but I can't because you're usually right. You're usually right. My mind don't want to say it, but how I feel you may actually be right. Why do I keep saying he? And he stated he is the framer and shaper. Damn it, I get it again. Yeah, you are definitely right. I got to stop saying it, right? Let's read some more. Just a little. We're almost done with that. I said, it's okay, brother. Sometimes we are so anxious to teach, but we have to realize that teachers have teachers as well. So the question was, what came first, the chicken or the egg? He said, not sure. I'm going to assume the chicken is the egg of. The egg comes first, but it seems like a trick question. Then he left a voicemail. You know, nothing relevant, so I'm not going to get into that, right? It says, it's not a trick. I said it's not a trick question. It may seem that way, though. If you say the egg, then where does the chicken egg come from? And then he said, listen to the voice message. It was too much to type. The chicken is the egg. But those mounds you showed me, we definitely cut those on shore as something, and they are in one of only parts of limits to the public. I said, yes, the mounds already existed, but they are built on top what we already had. The chicken is the egg, and the egg is the chicken, yes, but one is the source, and one is created from the source. Which one do you think is the source? He said, I wish I could take a peek. And then he's talking about the mounds, right? That voicemail, he was talking about the mounds. They only built inside and put one ventilation on top. They didn't build on top these or knock them down. They built in one, I think, the same exact size, but three giants. One that's connected together, blocks mounds from the road. We literally cut with a trimmer top side. I am not sure, honestly. Good question. Yes. And I said, yes. Were structures built in the mounds and some on top, just like the Library of Congress. The structures below were already there. They built on top of them. The egg is the source, brother, and within that source is everything to create the chicken. Hence, God / most high is not the source, but a creation within the source. All right. Then he said, that's crazy because I seen him and I knew. Then he's talking about the mound, right? What I seen and let my co-workers almost convince me that it was built by the military. They hide ammo in them. They can go inside the mounds and something takes down almost like elevators. And he said that actually makes sense based on what I just said. And I said we had / have an underworld. Our ancestors were geniuses, right? And then he said, that's crazy. How amazing we were, and and they stole our stuff. I said, it's still here. It's just not in our control, but soon enough it will be restored. He says your video of the mound structure really helped me out. I didn't have a peek of any that looked like the first. You visited the mound, but now I can show them they are the exact same thing. And I said, indeed. All right. Now, family, I just showed you that just to say, right? And I'm gonna come back here for a second. Okay. How do you go from December 23rd to coming to me as your brother? You came to me as a brother, a 19-year-old, literally less than a year later. I'm talking about December. January, February, March, not even 3 months, because it was December 23rd. It's not even March 23rd. How in less than 3 months I became the biggest enemy of yours? How is that in 3 months I became the most, I became a scammer? How is that? So when people don't know what's going on, and I tell you, I'm not going to feed into these people's, diseased mind. That's why I don't do videos to defend myself. But I'm doing this video to show you the mindset of our people. I haven't done anything to these people. Every time they come to me, I give them information. I show them love. So why do you feel the need to persecute me? But you see, many will not understand my journey. This is not about them hating me. It's a spiritual thing. Every time my ancestors have me and they are getting ready to take me on a whole different level, they have to test me. You see what I'm saying? They have to test me. And people may not understand that. So the sister who called me last night and trying to prompt me to go reach out to a brother that's defaming me and scandalizing my name like some females too. I'm not going to go to them. No, I'm not going to do that. Because you see, I know it's my personal test. You have to know yourself. Well, Chief, do a video and prove to them who you are. Why? Why? You see, when Yeshua, all right, whether you want to call it Yeshua or Jesus, whatever, right? When the allegorical Jesus or Yeshua went on the mountain and he was tempted, if you prove to me that you are God or you are the Son of God, all you have to do is jump and I will give you all of this. And Yeshua said what? Get thou behind me, Satan. And for those of you who will not comprehend that that's my approach, get thou behind me, Satan, then you still have a lot of growing to do. You see, I know myself. I know who I am. And I know myself well enough to know that when temptations are coming my way, I don't have to be on the mount and jump to prove to anybody that I'm a son of my ancestors or they sent me here to do the work. I don't have to do that. So let people scandalize my name. Let them defame my name. You see, there's always a price to pay. People don't realize that. So it's okay. And the sister also mentioned, well, don't you think you should do a video to explain yourself and prove to people who you are? Because there are new people coming into the information. And if that's what they hear for the first time, well, guess what? And I responded, everything is not for everybody at that time. If people are coming into the knowledge and all they want to see is the messenger and not hear the message, then they are not ready. So I'm not doing videos or messages for newcomers. No, I'm doing it for those who are ready. Because when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I don't have to go look for people. They will gravitate to the information that I'm putting out. So nobody could try to coerce me or force me or, suggest things to me that I don't want to do. Because you got your own life to live. I got mine to live. You feel me? Yes, I'm here for the people, but not each and every one that consider themselves the people is my people. Because if somebody was your people, you wouldn't do that to them. If you had a problem with them, you would call them, you would text them, you would inbox them, the same way that you could go on the internet and slander their name. Okay, you could send an inbox and say, brother, you know what? Man, this is this and this is that. But no. So you see, it's something bigger that a lot of you will not comprehend. You wouldn't get it, but I get it. And I'm going to tell you once again, the same stone that the builder refused is going to be the cornerstone. You see me? I'm in a beautiful place in my life. I'm living my best life. My heart is at peace. I am happy. I am joyful. And it doesn't matter what anybody does. What people fail to realize is this: if you take a ball and you throw it against a wall, it's going to come back right in your face. So whatever you are sowing and whatever you are doing to me, just know that it's going to happen to you. And just look what's happening right now, even within their own community. A sister sent me a screenshot. They're here fighting each other right now, calling each other niggas and bitches and sellouts and scammers. The same thing that they're calling me, they're calling themselves that now. So you see, I didn't have to do anything. My ancestors handle it all, because they're going to destroy each other. You see, misery loves company. And within the company of misery, what comes after misery was come? Death. They are going to kill themselves out. So I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is just continue walking in the righteous path that I am. So anybody who want to come as a newcomer and see me for what I'm not and who they say that I am, then that's their problem. It ain't mine. It's not mine. Everybody wasn't meant to be in my mode of transportation. We may have the same destination, but we don't have the same mode of transportation. There's a lot of people I don't want to be in the same car with, even if I know we are going to the same destination. I don't need to be that. I don't need that energy around me. No, I don't. You feel me? And for those of you, I want to give you another analogy. And I did an experiment a few years ago. All right. I'm talking about, in 2000 on YouTube, 2009, 2010, YouTube took down a lot of my videos, right? And I did an experiment, right? And I'm going to tell it to you again, because maybe this might be something that somebody needs to hear right now, okay? Because we spend too much time trying to appease people and hold on and cling to people. You dig? But let me just share this with you, okay? I did an experiment in Brooklyn, the number 4 train. Okay, the number 4 train. The number 4 train in Brooklyn, Utica Avenue. That is the first stop in Brooklyn for that express train, is the first stop. But if you're coming from the Bronx and you're coming to Brooklyn, is the last stop. So it's the first stop in Brooklyn and it's the last stop in Brooklyn, depends on your direction. So I'm coming from Brooklyn, going into the Bronx, so it's the first stop. I'm taking the express train, okay? Now, this is an experiment that came within me to do. I did that literally. So I went up to the train station. I paid my fare, swiped my, I think at that time they had tokens, right? So I put in my token, whatever they had, or whatever they had, right? Got on the number 4 train, okay? And I sat down. I went into the 3rd car and I sat down. And I did that in a rush hour, right? It wasn't rush hour per se, but it was enough where people, the trains were still busy. And I sat down and people started off in that car, in that train, right? On that train, in that particular car, number 3, okay? And I watch people, I watch everybody's faces, and everybody's in their business, whether they reading or they listen to the music, whatever they're doing. Cell phones wasn't that popular, but people had cell phones, right? So I'm watching people on the train, and from Utica Avenue on the express, the next stop is Franklin Avenue. Some people got off and more people got on. The next stop was Atlantic Avenue. Some people got off and more people got on. The next stop was Nevins. Some people got off and some people got on. The next stop was Borough Hall until it got to the Woodland, Bronx, the last stop in the Bronx. Now, brothers and sisters, that is an experiment that I did. Okay? I did that experiment because it was a lesson that I was teaching myself. And I tell you, the people that I started off with on the number 4 train in Brooklyn on Utica Avenue, when I got to the Bronx, it was only 4 people that started with me. But yet still, that car was filled with people. People got on, people came off, people got on, people came off. And when I got to the Bronx, Woodlawn, it was only 4 people. I didn't even get off the train. I just went across the platform. Well, I did get off the train. I went across the platform and I took another train back to Brooklyn. That was just an experiment. Now, somebody may say, well, damn, Chief, you had 2 hours just to waste. It wasn't wasted time. It was a lesson. You see, certain lessons you cannot put a price on. The moral of the story is this, family. On your journey, people are going to come in your life. They're going to come and they're going to leave. People are going to come, they're going to leave. Okay? The moral of the story is people come into your life for a season and for a reason. But sometimes we are so caught up in the distractions. We don't see the reason. We don't look for the reason why people come into our lives. Sometimes we are so selfish, we get mad at them because it's time for them to move on. Family, people come into our lives and they have to move on because they have their own journey. Okay? They have their own journey. You got to keep that in mind. And this is something that I learned early in my journey, that people are going to come into my life. And when it's time for them to leave, yes, I will feel a little bit of sadness. Depends on the magnitude of the relationship. But I have to let them go. I cannot be selfish enough to want to cling on to them and think that they hate me because they have to go, or they don't like me because they have to go, or they don't love me because they have to go. No, they got their own journey. My question to myself is, what was the lesson? Why did they come into my life? And that's what I have to learn. So I'm saying all this to say, all these people who come into my life, whether it may be good, bad, or indifferent, okay, even the ones that's come with the negativity, or even the ones that came with the slandering and the gossiping and the propaganda and the lies, guess what? I appreciate them for coming into my life. Because guess what they're doing to me? They are motivating me more. They're teaching me how to be more honest. They're teaching me how to have more integrity. They're teaching me how to love more. Everything is based on perception. It's how you perceive your experiences, how you perceive the lessons that you have to learn. It's called free will. Yes, I could get angry and go and do videos and curse people out and get mad. I could do all that. Why would I want to do that? You see, I'm going to prove to them how great I am by being the best me every single day. I don't have to feed into the negativity. We don't always have to do that. Pick your battles. Pick your battles. Because my eyes is focused on the war. My people are still here getting arrested in the streets. My sisters are still losing their children to this system. My brothers are still going in and out of jail. Our people are still going around killing each other. Our people are still walking around with no identity. Our people are still walking around thinking they came here on slave ships. CPS, ACS, they are taking our children. Foods in our neighborhoods are being poisoned. We don't have good water to drink. Every single day, what they're doing to the sun. You have chemtrails all over the sun, blocking what the Most High gave us for life. So do you think I will take my energy to spend time trying to appease these people? To prove what? How is that making my life any better? No, I'm going to let them bask, okay, in their misery and let them choke on their misery, because that's exactly what's going to happen. I have a purpose. I have a mission, and that is to make a better way for my people. And the only way for me to do that is to be the example that I want others to be. It's that simple. And I will continue to do that. So with all this said, I'm about to conclude. Moral of all this is, I have to show you what built me, gave me the character that I have as a man today. Okay? And it's that simple. And anybody who's going to disrespect me, we don't have anything to say to each other. Do you? It's a big world. Everybody think that everybody have to leave singing Kumbaya. No. Birds of a feather flock together. Can you imagine a bird that have feathers and some of the feathers want to do their own thing while others want to do something else? Explain to me how that bird is going to fly with equilibrium. Explain that to me. that bird is going to be off balance. So I'm not trying to cast my pearls to swines. All right. I'm not going to lay in bed with female dogs. I'm not going to do that, because if I have to step to their level and go and attack them, all right, and appease them, then that means I am lying with female dogs. You see, when you lie with dogs, you catch fleas. And no, my skin is too smooth. I don't want to catch fleas. You did. Nah. See, I'm too beautiful. I can't do that. I'm too handsome. I can't do that. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not just a handsome, beautiful man on the outside. You see, what's killing them is this. Especially these dudes. Oh man, you know what? Then he got a brain, he got wisdom, but he got a body. Bro, you ain't got to be jealous of me, bro. You know, I could teach you how to be a better you, because that's all I want to do is teach my people how to be a better them. So don't be mad. Ask me for pointers. I will teach you. So some of you may look at it as being cocky or egotistic. No, I love me. I work hard to be who I am. And it's not just a physical thing, it's a mental thing. And a lot of our women are standing up and realizing that what they call men are not men. They are half a man. Because no man get on the internet and gossip about men without shirts. I mean, man, that's crazy. What is your fetish, bro? What is your fetish? I never perform for men. That's not my thing. But it seems like, you know, y'all sit around and fantasize about me without shirt. Bro, stop that, man. That's disgusting. Men don't talk about men like that, bro. Men don't do that. And any woman who's doing that is because she cannot have that. So you see, it goes both ways. Why would a woman sit around and dog a man that you don't even know? You never had a conversation with. You have no idea, nothing about the man. But you there every day trying to belittle the man. Why is that? What is the fetish that you have with that man? What is that secret admiration you have with him? Because he don't want to be with you? Because he don't talk to you? What is it? What is it? So all I'm just saying is this, family. We are going to go through our journey, all right? And while I leave you with this, here's another analogy, right? In life, we all have to carry our crosses, okay? We all have to carry our crosses, and we all have to be, there you go, brother. Eagles don't fly with pigeons. You're absolutely right. Nothing but birds, all right? But here's the thing. We all have to carry our crosses, right? And we have to be crucified, and you have to be denied. You see, you don't get that. You have to be denied. You see, that allegory is so real. I tell people, don't focus on who wrote the book. The question is, did you get the message? I know the book didn't come from no Sky Daddy. I know that. But my question to you is, did you get the message? You see, we all have to be denied. You see, when you are stepping into who you truly are, and right before you are crucified, you have to be denied 3 times. Okay, you have to be denied 3 times before you ascend. You see, people don't get it. I know, and I know what I'm dealing with. So you have to be denied 3 times. Oh, nah, Chief-Kalinago, nah, he ain't no chief. He's a baby old chief. Oh, nah, Chief-Kalinago is African. Oh, he's Nigerian. That's me being denied by my own people. You see, I know my journey. And then here comes the crucifixion, because Peter had to deny Yeshua 3 times. Now, some people may say, well, oh, what you comparing yourself to Jesus or Yeshua now? It's not about comparison. It's about that's your story. It's not just mine. It is your story. Okay? And like I told y'all before, I was born in a place I grew up in a place I was a toddler in Gotha village. Do you know what Gotha symbolizes? Gotha symbolizes the manger. So I was born in the manger. You dig? In the gutter. Destined to be great. And nobody could take that away from me. Nobody. No matter what you come with, I will be victorious. Because my people needs to be victorious. And I'm going to stand with them and for them. Period. And all you enemies and all you unrighteous ones, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And y'all gonna learn. So the point I'm making is, you have to be crucified. And after they take you on that cross, some people will help you carry your cross, and you say, nah, son, I got it. Let me get that back. I got to carry it myself. So when people come to me and say, Chief, nah, I got this. Let me carry my cross. You did. And then once they hang you up, all right, spread your arms. And they put them nails in your arms. And you're looking up and you're asking your ancestors, why me? Why me? And your ancestors are not saying anything. They're letting you go through what you got to go through. And after they put them nails in you and they take that sword and they shove it through your spine. And then you drop your head and they think you are dead. Just to make sure that you are dead, they take that vinegar and they stick it in your side to make sure until that last breath is gone. And then your ancestors come and shine that light on you and say, nah, this is my son, this is my daughter in whom I'm well pleased. So I'm not here to give gratification to the flesh. All right, I'm here to cater to the spirit. The I am in me is going to gravitate to the I am in you, and the I am in you is going to gravitate to the I am in me, and we're going to come together and we're going to resurrect our people and we're going to restore our people, and there's nothing they could do about it. Nothing. So y'all can keep talking. You see, I'm focused. I got vision. I already see it all. And just watch great things manifest. Watch it. Okay? And you same ones who are there spreading the rumors and the propaganda, they're going to come back. Remember the story of Joseph and his brothers. After they thought they killed him, right? And they had to go back into Egypt during the famine to get food from their brother. Okay? Don't worry about it. That day is going to come when they all have to come to Chief-Kalinago and say, brother, man, I apologize. Can you feed me? Can you take me out of jail? Can you do this for my little brother? Can you do this for my sister? Am I going to turn my back? No, I'm not going to. But I'm going to let you deal with your own devils. Let you deal with your own demons. You see, I was cut from a different cloth. And once again, I'm not telling you my story to impress you, but to impress upon you that you can be different, that you can walk a righteous path. You can walk in honor. It doesn't matter what the temptations are. You have free will. You have that will to make up your mind and say, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to fit into that negativity. We got work to do. We got work to do. And unless, I don't care if it's 10 people, I don't care if it's 15 people, I don't care if it's 30 people, unless me, Chief-Kalinago, get some land and create our own community and free up some of my brothers and sisters from the hands of the beast, I'm not going to rest. And I'm going to make it happen. Believe that. That's a promise that I made to myself, nobody else but me. So if I don't get it accomplished, I'm the only one who will be disappointed. Nobody else but me. So I'm not making any promises to anybody. I made that promise to myself, but it's a promise that I made to myself. I'm going to get a group of people that I gravitate with, and I'm going to get some land, and we're going to open up our own community. All right, self-sustained electricity, our own security, our own police, our own jurisdiction. We're going to do this. I guarantee you it's going to be a reality. And it's going to happen sometime this year. That's going to start manifesting. All right? And that's a promise that I made to myself. So I got work to do. I got important things to do. And that's where I'm focused. All right? Before I go, let me share one more thing with you, and I'm going to get out of here. Okay? I'm going to get out of here. Let me see where I have that at. I had another page. Okay, let me just, give me a second here. Let me share that screen. Let me make sure that I have that. Okay, here we go. I got it. Good. Let me share my screen one more time. All right? And share this with you. All right? This is some of the things that I'm doing, right? Here we go. We got an invoice, right? We're doing our first American Aboriginal powwow. Yes, that's right. I'm going to show them that Chief-Kalinago could get our people together. With all the negativity that y'all putting out there, there are a lot of those of us who are positive, those of us who want to come together, those of us who want to make a difference. We are doing our first. A group of brothers and sisters came together all right? About 20 of us came together, and we are doing our first American Aboriginal powwow. Well, I call it Clan Up, okay, in Texas. And we're doing it at the Black Land Ranch in Texas. Now, deposit is already given. So I'm just showing y'all the invoice. They did me a favor and only gave it to me for $2,000 because I did a barter, all right? I tell them, hey, you know what? I will do certain things, all right, to give back if you could just give it to me for that price. So trust me, it's a whole lot more than that, all right? But we worked it out because they know we are doing something for the people, all right? Deposit is already made. So I'm showing you that this is here, it's there, it's going down. So the deposit already made. Let me show y'all the receipt because like you said, me, I like to show and prove. People could talk as much as they want. I'm going to show and prove. Okay, I'm going to show and prove. That's all I got to do. Let me hit exit here. All right, and let me just bring this back here a little bit and go to the inbox real quick and go show the receipt. Where's the receipt at? All right, because you see me, I like to show and prove, man. I like to show and prove. Let me go for the receipt right here and show y'all. Okay, here we go, receipt. All right, 2,000 deposit, 1,000. Deposit was made on February 28th from Chief-Kalinago Flying Eagle. All right, deposit, rental, you dig, and we owe 1,000, but at least our deposit is made. So with that being said, we got our first American Aboriginal powwow. All right, Original Peoples of America presents Clan Up. The reason why I didn't just leave it as a powwow is because POW, POW, to me is prisoners of war. And wow means whoa, I'm amazed. So it looked to me like they're making fun of us, all right? They're making fun of us by doing powwows. You know, they're celebrating that we are prisoners of war. So that's the way that I looked at it, okay? So I'm creating Clan Up. So that would be our first version of what they call a powwow. But I have to put powwow in parentheses so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we have that, okay? Original Peoples of America presents Clan Up powwow. First time ever, all right? Friday, July 24th to the 26th, 2020. Location, Commerce, Texas. We have a list of itineraries and more to come. We're talking about meet and greet. And those events are not in particular order, all right? But meet and greet, group meditation, holistic therapy, including herbal teas and remedies, walks in nature, bonfires, retreats, drum circles. Okay, give me a second here. Drum circles, indigenous, over 80 acres of land to honor our ancestors. We're gonna be on over 80 acres of land, family. All right, we're gonna have spoken word. We're gonna have artists singing, doing hip hop, but positive hip hop. Okay, they have trails. We're gonna walk the trails. We're gonna do fire pits. We're gonna do spiritual readings. We're gonna do chakra alignments. We have I just got a DJ that confirmed from Brooklyn, DJ Bones. He's committing to DJ for that entire weekend. We're gonna have karaoke. We're gonna have the Green Corn Festival. We have the housing accommodations. You have the house, you have the huts, and you have the tents. Okay, now the tickets are gonna be $100 for the entire 3 days, and food is included. All right, all you can eat. We're gonna spend about $3,000 to $4,000 buying food for that entire 3 days. So Friday and Saturday we're gonna have the festivities, and Sunday, if you're a vendor, whether you may be you selling clothes, stone, jewelry, art, whatever it is, we're gonna set up our tables and we're gonna patronize each other. So that's gonna be July 24th to the 26th. Okay, tickets will be going on sale soon. All right, everything is $100, like I said. All right, so we're gonna have, for those that are flying into Texas, we're gonna have buses. We're gonna charter to take you to the land. Some people may drive. Also, you could bring your camper. All right, family is gonna be beautiful. We're gonna show them that regardless of what's going on, we're gonna come together. All right, because a lot of people say, Chief, I want to go to a powwow. I say, you know what? We're gonna put ours together. Let the world see, all right, that we could come together and celebrate our own, and we are gonna do it with soul. All right, we are bringing the clans back together, and that's what this is about. So, like I said, I got work to do. I'm gonna continue doing the work, and nobody could stop that. And so that's July 24th to the 26th, 2020. All right. And we're going to come together and honor our ancestors. So I'm going to do a different styles of flyers. The tickets will be coming soon. You know what I mean? It's going to be a historical event. You definitely don't want to miss this. All right. So just wanted to share this with you guys. I'm going to conclude this build. I want to thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this build. You know what I mean? And let's continue to strive for wholesomeness. Let us continue to strive for togetherness. Remember, not everybody's going to get along. Okay. Not everybody's going to get along. But however, I'm looking for the birds of the feather that's going to come together so we could fly. You dig? And that's what it's about. You see me? So once again, that's why, we are doing this so we could bring unity. All right. And give praise and honor to our ancestors. Okay. So I thank you for being a part of this build. I know I went a little way over than I really intended to, but it means that I needed to speak from the heart and give people that information. So we are doing oh yes, no problem. Hit me up. Like I said, sis, the yoni steaming and all that stuff for sisters who want to experience that. Anybody who's a part of that, just hit me up. You know what I mean? So we could arrange that so you could be part of that, because like I said, it's gonna be a beautiful experience. You know what I mean? And the tickets will be definitely ready within, I would say, a week and a half to 2 weeks for the least. All right. It could be sooner than that. All right. But it's gonna be on a first come, first basis. All right. We're gonna cap it to 300 people. And yes, security is gonna be tighter than a virgin. Okay. We're gonna make sure we have security there as well. So it's gonna be a beautiful event. All right. So I'll keep you guys posted. And thank you so much for being a part of the build. Do have a beautiful continuation, and we will talk soon. All right. I appreciate, love you guys. One.